Hello, how's it going? Mm, never tried to gargle tea. I'm not going to start today. So you're looking good anyway. Um, I can see you. um, I've noticed in the world over the last week or so that there's just sort of been a rash of pathetic words, pathetic behavior, pathetic attitudes just in the ether. And I thought I'd like to point a few of them out. So Elon Musk ended up buying Twitter. At least the deal has been tentatively approved, and this caused everyone in the media uh, and sort of in left-wing progressive circles to lose their minds. Uh, Right-wing people seem to be cheering it. I tend to agree. I'm a little bit agnostic on this point because I don't know how much it's going to change. I don't use Twitter mostly because it's a toxic minefield. Um, I would much prefer to read a book or watch a documentary or go for a walk than spend my time arguing with idiots on the internet. Um, it's just my opinion. But it's fun to see people lose their mind. That sports and politics and sports and news sort of merged, where people end up cheering for a team. So my team, I usually my favorite teams are here in Philadelphia. Just grew up with the same team. You really can't change your team without being a total turncoat. um, but I would say that this has exposed a lot of people to being very pathetic, very emotionally unstable people whose whole world can crumble because of a piece of news that doesn't really indicate anything about the world going anywhere, or any change happening other than uh, the title of the deed to Twitter. Like, I just don't see it. And if it's really about the possible allowing of people who are bad, who say bad things on the internet, back on, then you can go elsewhere. I hear that the former president has started a new uh, social media platform. Maybe it'll be welcome there. I don't know, but it seems like people just lose their cool about stuff that they don't even know what it means. They don't even understand it, and they're just acting like petulant little children about something. So I would say either hold your breath, you know hold your breath, take, just calm down, or panic like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. Which one do you think is a little bit more mature? um, And in other news, there's another pathetic piece of behavior that I sort of noticed. In the NBA playoffs, which are going on right now, um, the New York Knicks got bounced. And the reason why this is funny and pathetic and weird, so in Philadelphia, there was a guy who played for the team. His name's Ben Simmons. And Sixers got bounced from the playoffs last year because this guy couldn't hit a foul shot. Ended up costing them the game, or costing them the season. And instead of spending the summer working on your foul shots, like every kid who ever played basketball would do, just practicing, the guy just, I won't call him fake because I don't know it for sure, but it sure as hell looked like he just faked a back injury so he didn't have to play. Demanded a trade. He got traded to New York for a sort of a guy slightly past his prime, in James Harden, and they got bounced from the playoffs this year. The Nets, where he ended up getting traded to, and it's just like, you're just a pathetic little turd. You faked an injury, or you definitely exaggerated injury so you wouldn't have to play for a team who criticize the hell out of you because you can't do your job. It's the most pathetic thing ever, and you could bring it. You could turn it around. Yeah, I think he's only like 24, 25. You could turn it around, man. You could do it. All you have to do is go and practice. Go do it. No, you have to be a petulant little shit. You have to be a little baby. You could just go out and practice. The guy's rich enough. He could probably build a basketball court right outside of his house and just practice foul shots. But that might be too much. Other pathetic behavior often happens in politics. People end up losing their minds or celebrating. It's funny how politics and sports kind of have like melded into one another, as I say, where people lose their minds. The same way, if your team loses, you're like, oh no, oh no, you really live and die with the team. And it's sweet in a way because it gives you something to care about, but you realize that you have no control over the situation. Uh, the Phillies played last night, they won. I did not contribute to that. I checked in on the score, but I was hanging out with the wife, and I can't watch baseball every night. I expect to still be married. Um, but I probably watch every other game or something like that, maybe one game out of three. But I don't play a role in this. I'm not part of the team. Um, and it's true with politicians. I'm not part of your team. And when you realize that these people don't really represent you, they don't really care what you think. They may make overtures to you a couple times every once in a while when it's convenient for them, as in just before an election. Um, you realize that they don't represent you. They just do things in your name. Um, and in religion, I think one of the I don't remember which number, but one of the 10 Commandments says, "Don't take the Lord's name in vain." Well, one of the political 10 Commandments should be, "Don't take the people's name in vain." You're not doing things in my name. Just because you say you are doesn't mean you are. You just somehow you got elected. Either you swindled your way in, you demagogued your way in, or you just you promised things that you were never willing to follow through on. You do not represent me. And people tend to lose their mind about things because they don't realize that they're not really in control of the situation. They might be able to vote every few years, but that's where it ends. You do not run the government. You do not make any policy decisions. You just get swap horses in midstream, and we're always in midstream. So all we have as voters is the ability to swap horses. And it makes life a little bit easier to deal with. It does make it frustrating because there's nothing you can do, but as long as you just kind of resign yourself to that fact and just show up and vote when you need to, there's really nothing else you can do. Now, I hear a lot of people talk about issues that I know for a fact that they don't read about, because I'll just say like this: I rarely / never have an opinion about anything. I never say anything that I don't read into. I read a lot, and I try to restrain myself despite not knowing what I'm talking about. So even when I read a lot, I still don't know what's going on or what to think or come to any conclusion. I just kind of rein it in a little bit because I still don't understand, and I try not to have opinions on things that I don't understand. But I'm only human, and the only thing that I would say that isn't pathetic in big news, big American news, or big global news is the Russia-Ukraine war. That to me it just seems like it has all the hallmarks of a tragedy in a technical sense, like a Greek play where the fates had sort of set up this situation where no matter what you whatever you tried to do or could have tried to have done, it was going to happen this way no matter what. And that's really just, it's frustrating and it's sad. And all you can do is watch. I mean, unless you want to participate in the war, which I don't think we in America want to do, because that involves getting involved, getting into a war with a man with nukes and not a lot of rational facilities being used. So my sympathies go out to Ukrainians and the Ukraine itself. Um, uh, I really do admire those people. Those people are not pathetic, and that's the reason why I bring that up is that these people, yeah, they hate Putin. It's really understandable, and people outside of the Ukraine tend to hate Putin because you just invaded a country, your neighbor. And the interesting thing is, the more you know about these countries, the more that you've realized how intertwined they are. A lot of people in Russia have family in the Ukraine. They are part Ukrainian. The same way that if, for some reason the United States broke up into pieces and maybe a little bit of the South ended up being its own country, and the United States just invaded that part of the country, we would be invading our families, at least a lot of our families. And it's really sad to see that. And this guy doesn't really care, does he? But the reason why I was bringing it up is because it's not pathetic. It's tragic. You see that these people are fighting, giving it everything they've got. I don't trust the news to tell me if things are going well for them or not going well for them. The fact that this war is still going on, despite the fact that Russia is so much bigger than Ukraine, is a testament to how not pathetic these people are, how strong and brave they are. I really do admire those fighting there, and I hope all the best. But they should not want us being involved with the war, because that would cause a nuclear war, and that's really bad for everyone. So, just to sum everything up, when you skip all the histrionics of American politics or American culture, and all these people who have nothing but the internet and their TV, and they're just very just in front of their own face, like they don't see beyond their own nose. Uh, and like I say, they're just full of histrionics that everything is bad, or everything's amazing, like there's nothing in between. And to go from those extremes is not a very healthy way to live your life. But when you start, you kind of have to remove the emotion from things and just kind of look at things as they are. I think as an economist, economics, they beat a lot of the values that you try to place on things, like emotional and sort of what we call normative values. So basically, this is good, this is bad. You just, all right, we'll leave that to, ethicists and philosophers, and we will stick to the facts and saying GDP has risen 3.5%, whatever. And then you let somebody else decide whether that's good or not. And you just stick to the facts as you can see them. And that's the way I kind of view the world, is I keep it at a distance, and I just kind of analyze it. And then, is what's happening a good thing? I do the analysis, then I do the judgment on the analysis. And so when you skip all all the emotions, because you're trained to do that, you start noticing that the world, at least in the last 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even 2 or 3 months, is kind of going in the right direction. They're going from bad and really bad with the whole coronavirus thing and the world just sort of being in a collective grump, to not quite so bad. Like, obviously, with the Ukraine thing, that's really bad. But fortunately for the rest of us, that's not our battle to fight. That our country has experienced similar things, like the American Revolution, like the Civil War. These things have happened in our soil. Fine, it hasn't happened in our lifetime, but our country has been ripped apart in this way, has been invaded by a foreign power. And it's part of our national character, our national legends, our foundation story. And that's why I think Americans tend to be so pro Ukraine, is because we can see the parallel in our own story, um, and that's why we're really pushing for the Ukraine, or really just hoping for the best for them. But you look at the rest of the world and you think, okay, movies suck. TV's, like movies lately, they're terrible. TV lately is terrible. Inflation is really bad. Politics is getting to be ridiculous and downright sad, especially for the people who are very addicted to watching and following every story and just sort of living and dying with every passing blurb out there, half of which is either a lie or and the other half is just exaggerated, um, not told properly. So you kind of have to sort of keep that at arm's length. And, even in my own situation, my personal life's not that great. I'm not doing what I want to be doing. Um, but I feel like you need to, and this is how I bring it back to Stoicism. I've always been a fan of the Stoics ever since I started reading. A guy like Marcus Aurelius is probably the most approachable. Focus on what you can do. What can you do about your life to make it better? And, you can put your nose down. You can control how hard you work. I worked a lot this morning. My hands really hurt from all the writing I've been doing. So I'm going to stop the writing part and probably get to, I'll go for a run. I'll read a couple books. I need to start working on a programming skill in order to do well in an interview that might be coming up soon. So the thing is, like, you can do what you can do. I have control whether or not I go through that door over there to go for a run, and I have control whether or not I go and read a book about something I'm interested in, or to be able to talk about something, or just to make sense of the world. Or I have control over whether or not I go learn this programming language, Python, which doesn't seem that hard. It's just a bit of work. So it feels like if you put your nose down, you do some hard work. One day, it could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be years from now, there'll be some reward in all this. And I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Well, we'll see. Hopefully tomorrow, but if not tomorrow, maybe what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday, so maybe on Friday something will come up. Or years from now, who knows? You got to put in the work now. You're not going to get a big giant tree unless you plant the seed years in advance. So anyway, I'm at the end of my tea, so that means I'm at the end of the video. Still classy, still have the cup and saucer. You can tell I'm keeping it classy. I've got black here. Anyway, that's enough out of me. I will see you in another video soon. Bye.